Hey everyone, welcome to another online meetup. My name is Max, and I cover everything education and community for Okta workflows. Now, so the topic today is we're going to see how we can customize and extend Auth0 custom logic or actions with no-code Okta workflows. And specifically, we're going to look at two examples. One example is triggering a flow from Auth0 Action, and then also using the Auth0 connector that's available in the workflows. All right. Now, this event is being recorded. Oh, sorry, let me mute my other screen here. This event is being recorded, and it will be available right here on Crowdcast once we're done with this session, and I will also upload it to YouTube, and I'll send you a message. It will come from Crowdcast with a link to YouTube and some other resources. All right, now before we start, please follow our channel, Okta Workflow channel on Crowdcast. Then when we go live, you'll be notified when we go live. Also register for upcoming events. We have, I think, 3 or 2 events coming up. There is a monthly getting started with Okta workflows, and we build a different flow each time. And then we also have a session in the middle of February about using Okta workflows and the new OpenAI connector. So sign up for that session. Also, let me know what topics you would like to cover in the future. My email is in the first column, or you can put the topic in chat. And also, if you would like to tell me where you're coming from, that's also always interesting. I am joining from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'll put it in the chat. All right. Okay, so let's get started. So let me move this. Let me get the screen. All right. We're going to come back to this view in just in a bit, but first I am going to go to workflows. Actually, no, I'm going to go to here, Auth0 Actions. All right. And so I'm actually looking at the docs. Again, I don't have any slides. If you attended any prior events, you know I don't have any slides. So I actually like that if you can just point, go to the docs and use that as a slide. So I like that. But anyhow, so Auth0 Actions, right? So, but in general, Auth0 is you can build sort of authentication for your sort of consumer applications, just a very high level description. And now specifically Auth0 Actions, and I'm going to highlight here, these are secure tenant specific functions written in Node.js that you can execute in different points in the Auth0 platform. So for example, you can execute a custom logic, maybe before a user signs in, after the user signs in other places. And that all fine, it works well. But then what's sort of the key here is that these are Node.js functions. So what this means is that you have to write code. So again, you've got the Auth0 flow, user is signing in, and then you would like to do something once the user signed in. And then so you have to write the code, that capability in Node.js. And again, that's fine, but we would like to also learn how you can do that using a no-code platform. And of course, you would love to use Okta workflows. So the first example, I'm going to show you how you can, as you do the login, instead of writing your logic in Node.js, how you can actually invoke a flow in Okta workflows to do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, So this is my dashboard in Auth0, and on the left-hand side we can see actions, and then it has this flow. So you can see you can call an action on login, you can do pre-user registration, post-user registration, and some other places you can do, for example, when the password is reset. But we want to do one that's login here. And you can see it has this visual editor. So user logged in, and then you can do something. Now, so what we're going to do is we need to be able to call workflow. So for that, I'm going to go to library, and first I'm going to install right here, create action, and I'm going to install an integration from the marketplace. So create action, I'm going to use marketplace integration, and you can see there are different integrations that you can sort of use, right? But I'm going to search for Okta here, and you can see Okta workflows, and I'm going to click on that. There's some overview here, but I'm going to click Add Integration. And then it's just telling me Okta workflows will need access to. I'm going to say Continue here. And now I'm going to configure. So the way this works is that when you start the flow on Auth0 side, right, it can call an API endpoint, a URL, right? So I need to get the URL, a flow URL. Now I'm going to go to Okta workflows, and I'm going to create a new flow, and I'm going to call this Auth0 Action. All right, click Save. Now, if we want to call a flow via an API endpoint, then the first event that we need to set up is API endpoint right here. Okay, API endpoint, and then I'm going to check the security here. I'm going to close, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to come back. But what this means is that this flow can be invoked, can be triggered via an API endpoint. So if there's any other system can call an API, and then this flow will be triggered. Now I'm going to click the brackets here, and then it opens back the settings. And now this is the invoke URL at the top, so I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to take it back to Auth0, and it says URL to trigger Okta workflows, right? So I'm going to paste the URL, and I'm also going to copy the client token here, and go back and set the token here. Okay, so now when I do a login in Auth0, I want to trigger this flow, right? That I configured here. I'm going to click Create, all right, and then I'm going to also click right here at the flow. Right, we're back here, and now we can see that I've got one. I think it's called add-on, or component that I can now add to my flow. Okay. Now the way I add Okta workflows is I just take it and drag and drop it, and then in between, right? And then I'm going to click Apply. Right. So again, when the user starts logging in, then it's going to call the flow, and then when it's done, it's going to sort of continue the login process, and then I can, of course, do other logic. All right. All right, let's go here, let's close, and then let's turn on the flow here. All right, we're going to add other steps in just a sec, but for now I just want to make sure that this works, right? I'm going to go to execution history, and I just want to see that a login process will actually trigger this flow. So I'm going to go to authentication, and there is a really nice capability in Auth0 is you can kind of test a login. And so I went to authentication profile, and I'm using this first option, and then here at the top it says try. So I can sort of try a login. I'm going to click try. And I already got a user here, and I'm just going to click continue. All right, and I get this message. It works, on the Auth0 side, but now I'm going to go to workflows. All right, and we can see success. So just now we can see the information that was received. So for example, right here, this is the information that was sent. Okay, so now I know that when someone logs in on the Auth0 side, I am able to trigger a flow. Now, so that's fine, but you want to do something a little bit more. So for example, let's say you want to see how many times this particular user signed in, right? So you want to count how many times this user signed in and then do something else with that information. All right, so I'm going to close here. Okay, so for that, I need to use the Auth0 connector that's available in workflows. And I'm gonna click App Action, and right here I already I pre-configured the connector or the connection. So I'm going to click Auth0, and you can see these are the actions that you can call. So you can create user, you can call a custom API action, delete user. The one I need is read user. So I want to get more information about the user, which also includes the number of times this user signed in. I'm going to read user. And so these outputs are fine, but the one I want, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say login count. I'm going to click save. All right. Now I need the ID here, right? So I need the user ID. Now I do get the user ID in the body, but before I need to extract. If I go back here, let me show you. I need to extract this user ID right here. All right. So I'm also going to copy this because I'm going to test it in a second. So I'm going to copy this JSON, and I'm going to map the. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong step. I need to add a step to extract. So I'm going to use a function here called get, and I'm going to map. This is what I wanted to do. So I'm going to map the body, and then it's user ID. I think it's user, and then that user ID. I already forgot what it was. So let's go back, and let's see here. All right, it's user. Okay, so also when I do this, I can test this card. I'm gonna, because I copied the JSON, so I'm gonna paste it here. I'm gonna test, and then I get this the ID. So this works. Okay, so now that I have the ID, I can pass it to the read user card. All right, so let's save, and now let's close this, and let's do another sign in. So, and we'll use the same user. All right, let's go to workflows. All right, and we can see a second run. So we can see there's the get and the user ID, and we can see that this user signed in 18 times, right? And so you can do something with this information if you would like. All right, we can do maybe one more sign in, and then, oh, sorry, wrong. And then we can move into the second example. So it's the same Jane. Let's go to workflows. All right, then we can see 19 logins now. All right. All right, so this first example is, let me go to actions and log in here. All right, so the first example that I showed you is, again, you're building an Auth0 login flow, and you could, if you need to write any custom logic, so you can use actions, and you could do it using Node.js, and it's absolutely fine. But if you want to do it with the no-code platform, now you can use Okta workflows, and this is how you would integrate. Okay, so you can trigger a flow, and then in the Okta workflows flow, you can do whatever logic you want. You know, and of course, there's also a connector available that has available actions. So again, you can write any logic that you would like. All right, so that's one way you could sort of integrate. Let me quickly see if there are any questions. All right, I don't see any questions, but if you do have questions, You can put them in the chat. There's also a Q&A section on the right-hand side, so you can put the Q&A section there as well. All right. All right. Now, the other example I want to show you is actually a template. And then, so I think there are 6 templates available that leverage Auth0. And I'm going to use, but the one risk. The one I'm going to use is right here, is create a ServiceNow ticket for a high-risk login. All right. And what this does is that when you do a login into Auth0, we can look at the information that Auth0 sort of provides and see if it's a high-risk login. If it is a high-risk login, then you can create a support ticket, for example, in ServiceNow, and just, of course, from there you can do whatever you need to do. But so this template, again, you can just search for this template and then you would add it. Now, I already have it in the folder, so let me go back and show you how it looks, and we're going to run it. So this is the one here. All right, and this is the way it works, is that it's an API endpoint, so it will be triggered the same way. And now we're looking at the risk assessment confidence score. Okay, and if so, the way it works is that high risk logins have low confidence score. Okay, and if it's a low confidence score, which means it's a high risk login, then we just parse all the information that we receive from Auth0. We just create a text here, and then we create another text with a lot of the information: the user ID, username, email, the authentication method, and so on. And then what we do is that we create an incident in ServiceNow. Okay, so just notifying other people, hey, this is a high-risk login. Okay, now, so let's see how this works. What I'm going to do is actually, I have a sample JSON that has a high-risk login in it, and I'm going to click run, and I already have it saved. All right, just in general, if you test the flow like this, you can check this option, save inputs, and then you don't need to enter the inputs every time. But anyhow, this is a high-risk login, and I'm going to click run. All right, and we can see that a ticket was created here. Let's see here. So we can see that it is a low confidence score, which means it's a high-risk login. But right here, we can see there's an incident number, and it ends in 11. And if I go to ServiceNow and reload the page, we can see right here that this incident was created. Let me click on it, and we can see right here it says, this is all the information that in that big compose card. There's the Auth0 confidence low, and it has all the information. All right. So let me go back here. But yeah, that's another way you can sort of leverage Auth0 and an Okta workload. So those are the 2 examples that I wanted to show you. Again, the first example is that how you trigger a flow from Auth0, right? When you do a login, so you can trigger a flow, add some custom logic using no-code platform, so you don't need to write in Node.js code. That was sort of example number 1. Then we also use the built-in connector to Auth0. Okay, let me go back just to show it to you again quickly. Let me open it. So this is the connector. And again, if I open it, you can see the actions that it has. All right. So that's sort of example number 2. And then the third example, kind of also using the idea that you can trigger a flow on a login. So when you have a login, Auth0 sends you information about the confidence, like whether it's a high-risk login or a low-risk login. And then based on that, you can decide what to do. So in the example that I showed you, we created a ServiceNow ticket. Of course, you can send an email, you can send a message to Slack, you can do whatever logic you would like to sort of do. At that point, it's up to you. All right. Well, that's actually all I wanted to show you. We're actually doing really good on time. I think it's going to take us less than 30 minutes this time. But yeah, let me switch back to the slide. So if you have any questions, my email is there. Please reach out. If you have any ideas for a future topic, same thing, please reach out. You should also see at the bottom of your screen, it says join the Okta Workflows community on Slack. So this is the Mac admin Slack. The link will take you there. I would recommend to join. It's a very vibrant, very active community on Slack where people help each other and help each other very quickly. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, if you do join the community, look for the Auth0 Workflows channel, right? So that's the channel you want to join. Other than that, I'm going to stay here for just another second. Well, more than a second, but I'm going to stay for a little bit to see if there are any questions. But again, don't hesitate to reach out. My email is there. I'm always happy to answer questions via email. All right. Well, I don't see any questions. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining today. Again, go to our Crowdcast channel. We have other events coming up. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.